These are the games that took drawing inspiration a little too far. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 blatant rip-off games. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're taking a look at games that have obviously taken key concepts, gameplay elements, or a visual style from another similar title. While it is commonplace for games to share certain features, there will be something disingenuous or lazy about how the developers have gone about their work here. These shouldn't be confused with spiritual successors that are designed in homage to a series that may be lacking in a recent release, and just for the record, some of these games are actually pretty good. It's just, we know where they got their ideas, right?
Vamos, you puke pail.
Thanks for the ride!
Number 10, Wacky Wheels. When Nintendo invented the kart racing subgenre with Super Mario Kart on the SNES, other developers scrambled to get their mascots into miniature combat-equipped vehicles. Konami Crazy Racers was pretty late onto this particular rip-off bandwagon in 2001, coming 7 years after Wacky Wheels first hit stores. Released as an animal-themed karting option for the PC, its obvious copying in power-ups, race types, tracks, and graphics from Mario Kart meant it isn't a bad game, it just wasn't very original, polished, or not even very wacky. An innovative duck shooting mode and hedgehog weapons do distinguish it slightly and add a certain degree of quirkiness, but it's never enough to prevent Peggles or Blombo from eating Mario's dust. Number 9, Quantum Theory. From the very first scenes, the similarities to Gears of War are rammed down your throat, perhaps intentionally to benefit from the success of Epic Games' sensation. A gruff, muzzle-bound hero immediately blasts humanoid creatures from behind cover in a third-person perspective. Nothing like a bit of subtlety, right? Even Sid and Felina's animations look the same as Marcus and Dom, albeit with a clumsier, unfinished feel compared to the slickly designed world of Sarah.
I don't give a damn how you feel. You fight!
Further doubling down on the on-the-nose likeness, the fathers of the protagonists are almost the same character. Both are mysteriously absent and have knowledge the perceived enemy have exploited. I mean, come on, when the commonalities are that specific, you know something's kind of fishy.
I haven't heard of any support coming our way.
Number 8, Saints Row.
Not all of us have a couple $1 million to make changes.
Always the same shit
Oh,
you choose.
here we go again.
What did you want me to do?
Of all the GTA clones you have to choose from, and there's a bunch of them out there, we both know that, the Saints Row series has consistently been your best alternative when Rockstar are developing their next open-world title. Releasing a year before GTA 4 on next-gen hardware, it improved considerably upon San Andreas by adding online multiplayer and a GPS navigation system that GTA would soon incorporate too. However, some of the staple missions do seem to be imitations of typical GTA set pieces. It's no surprise then that some of the later entries in this franchise have tried to distance themselves from Rockstar's Titan by really leaning into the wackier side of things.
How do I burn out a city that's baptized in fire? How do I kill off an army that's dead? Time's slipping away now, and the best plan we've got is just put one inside Satan's head.
Number 7, Kasumi Ninja. If you've never heard of this Mortal Kombat ripoff, or the hardware it was developed for, then consider yourself lucky. It and the Atari Jaguar are incomprehensible messes that flopped on a whimper. Developers' handmade software evidently forgot that Mortal Kombat's popularity wasn't just its gory novelty, but also its slick controls, which this game is sorely lacking. The Jaguar's notoriously complicated controller compounds a clunky system, while movesets and color palettes are routinely copy-pasted throughout a slapdash experience. Number 6, PlayStation AllStars Battle Royale.
Ready? Fight!
From the early stages of development of this PlayStation mascot crossover brawler, the comparisons to Smash Bros. Were widespread. However, it probably wasn't wise for Sony to explicitly exploit players' interest in Nintendo's similar series by including Smash Bros. Tags in their E3 trailer. Oops. Press perception didn't improve once the game released either. Most were underwhelmed by a complicated power move system that put off newcomers, totally missing the point of the unpredictability of its inspiration. Perhaps most damning of all, the roster of mascots lacked defining features of the earlier PlayStation experience, like Lara Croft and Crash Bandicoot, icons who could feasibly rival Mario and Link's popularity. Instead of Sephiroth as the main antagonist, we got 17-year-old cast-off Polygon Man. Really, Sony? Polygon Man?
You are not ready.
Number 5, Dante's Inferno. You could put the overarching narratives of this hack and slasher and God of War side by side and barely ever notice the difference. Cutscenes and stylized animation reveal that both Dante and Kratos are warriors whose wartime atrocities force them to gain redemption and leaves their bodies emblazoned with symbols representing their sins. Each jacked protagonist then proceeds to hack apart powerful mythological figures in grand set pieces with a signature weapon. I mean, that's a hefty list of similarities.
Soon you'll be joined by those whose lives you have ruined.
However, this interpretation of Dante Alighieri's famous poem starts diverting from God of War in how laboriously shabby the core gameplay becomes in the later circles of hell you descend through, a flaw that the exceptional, disturbing environmental design could never really absolve. Number 4. Candy Crush Saga. You'll be familiar with King. They're the guys that make the Saga freemium apps, and they're the literal royalty of rip-off developers. They began with Bubble Witch Saga in 2001, a clone of Taito's Bust a Move, before moving on to their imitation masterpiece, Candy Crush Saga. Taking the renowned 3-match gameplay of Bejeweled and the art style of Candy Swipe, King added an attractive sheen and strategic depth and variation, all while using their financial clout to bully anyone who might be alienated by this questionable development strategy. This approach might not be moral, but it's one that's been vindicated by over 5 million downloads and the many millions more it's made through microtransactions. Number 3. Gloom. It could be argued that any FPS developed since Doom released in 1993 is a clone of that genre pioneer, but few have been as brazen as Gloom in acknowledging the influence of id Software's title, using a similar name to arguably benefit from confused consumers who thought they may be buying that gory game they've heard so much about, using a similar pseudo-3D presentation as Doom. The limitations of the only system it launched on, the Amiga, limited Gloom's graphical capability. Despite the difference in presentation quality, Gloom gets credit for adding more puzzle elements and a greater range of enemies to Doom's near-perfect formula. But who knows, had things been different, Gloom Guy might have become the 90s monster-bashing icon. Probably not. Number 2. The Simpsons Road Rage.
Take me to the Quickie Mart.
Despite the obviousness of all the copying we've cited on this list, most of these games have remained relatively litigation-free. Until now. Sega's Crazy Taxi required you to drop off your passengers with as much flair as possible, and Road Rage is basically that with a Simpsons skin. These similarities were so unacceptable to Sega that they alleged that Fox had infringed on a patent concerning Crazy Taxi's freeform driving, jumpy pedestrians, and the massive arrow that guides you to your destination. Sega wanted Road Rage pulled from the shelves, yet many critics argued that although the parallels are clear, those gameplay concepts were not groundbreaking enough to warrant legal action. Fox eventually settled out of court, and Road Rage is remembered as a fun Simpsons game, but, kind of a ripoff of Crazy Taxi.
Hi, can you take me to this address? I have to deliver a warrant.
Before we reveal our number 1 pick, here are a few dishonorable mentions. Number 1. The Great Gianna Sisters. Today we know Mario and Luigi as the definitive Italian siblings of gaming, but there was a brief period where their status was threatened. In the late 80s, the NES and titles like Super Mario Bros. Were still extremely expansive, and so this German platformer sought to provide an affordable experience for various systems. It wasn't in stores long, however. Nintendo rapidly noticed the first stage was a carbon copy of Shigeru Miyamoto's iconic design, right down to the color palette, block power-ups, and mushroom-like monsters. While Super Mario Bros. Features aren't wholly unique, the game did popularize the genre, giving Nintendo leverage to get Gianna and Maria removed from sale from certain stores, inadvertently turning it into a copycat called Classic. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.